Rob, I got a question for you that just I'm thinking about now because I'm thinking about when I was sitting in the crowd. Do you remember that Ohio State game?
At home.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of the best games I ever watched. What
It's
was
one of the
going
most.
through your
It's
head
one of the
during that
most.
game?
It's one of the most unfortunate results in the history of, I think, my life. Um, yeah, I mean, so here's what's crazy about
Oh,
that,
y'all
and,
lost
and
that
I
game?
we
Yeah.
lost. Yeah,
No
Yeah.
idea. No, I thought y'all won.
no. I mean, we definitely can talk about it. Yeah, I mean, I hit 8 threes in the first half. Ohio State stayed in the zone. They were playing 1-through-1, and they literally just weren't guarding me. Like, and I've got a story about that, which I'm going to tell you after this. But the second half, Evan Turner was amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, and actually, there was a play he made in the first half that I still like him debating whether he did it intentionally or not, because I got switched on to him on the left side of the floor. And I went back and I looked it up like a few weeks ago because I wanted to see. And I'm still debating if he. I don't think he did it on purpose, but at the time I did. So he's driving left from the left, and I moved my feet as well as I could. Like, Evan Turner was a problem. Kramer wasn't big enough to really guard him. I
Mhm.
wasn't fast enough, shifty enough to him. I think, Lewis, did you guard him a lot?
I didn't. I didn't get to play him that game. I was still hurt. I got to play him at
The
State.
next game in
Yeah.
Columbus, did you guard him?
Yeah. But he
And
definitely
you guys
was.
just went under. We went under on every ball screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which probably was the best way to guard him with you or KG, I would say, or Kramer going under. But so I'm sliding my feet and I cut him off and he goes to pull up and I contest this shot. And I might have blocked it. And at the end, he goes from shooting it to throwing it over his head, and he throws it off the side of the backboard. So I turn to see where the ball is going, thinking it's a skip pass. It hits the backboard square and bounces right back to him over my shoulder, which I try to catch. And by the time I turn, he catches it and jays me from 12 feet. I'm like, if he did that on purpose, that's the coldest move I've ever seen in my life. Amazing.
Yeah, I looked at
Amazing. So,
hilarious.
and then in the second half, he was unguardable. We turned it
Yeah.
over some and he got it in transition. But when he get going, and Evan got calls too. I always say
Yeah.
this, this man would travel his ass off. And I'd always tell him this when we were in Serbia. We were roommates together for USA basketball. I'd be like, dude, are they ever going to call it travel on you? You walk everywhere. Your spin move to travel. You were
Yeah.
always traveling. And he would just be like, man, yeah, right. But so I'm doing a game last year, the Purdue Ohio game at Ohio. And Jeff Bowles is the coach at Ohio. He was an assistant for Ohio State back then. And I'm talking to him at shoot around, and he starts talking about that game. And he's like, we stayed in that zone because you were only shooting 18% from three. And I was offended. I'm still offended. I'm like, Coach,
He said they played
with all
the
due
numbers.
respect. I was like, Coach, with all due respect, never in my life have I shot an 18% from three. I might not be good at a lot of things on the basketball court, but I am a good shooter. All right. So he doubles down. He doubles down again. So I'm with my broadcast partner, Kevin Brown, who does a lot of American games for ESPN. And shoot around's over. And I go, dude, no freaking way I shot 18%. I'm going to go to the game logs. I'll calculate my percentage out. And dude, all right, I was shooting bad this time. I was shooting 29. But I told him, I was like, Coach, I finished 36 and a half. Are you telling me that I made every shot the rest of the year to go from 17 all the way to 36? There's no way. And dude, he was adamant. Adamant. So
that's hilarious.
Apparently they thought I was shooting 16% from three, and thought even if I was, after the sixth make, he'd be like, all right, let's guard a man to man. Let's go to something else.
Oh man.
John Diebler, his freshman year, everyone knew he was a great shooter. He shot I don't want to be Jeff Bowles and throw a percent. He did not shoot good. His percentage was poor. But everybody knew that all it took was one game for him to make some, and he'd be hot. That dude's got a flame for a jumper. So, and I'm not saying I'm as good a shooter as John because he's an elite shooter, but I mean, after the 6-1, maybe you'd man up. But then we lost, so it was a crushing defeat. It was not good, not a good one.
I remember that game. That game. That is funny. You were on fire. I could have sworn y'all won. Yeah, I do remember. Now that when you said Etwan, I mean not Etwan, but you said Evan Turner was unguardable. I do remember that second half.
Oh,
That second half was outrageous. Yeah, he looked like a
was
draft
just,
pick.
he just murder from like his pull up at the rim. He was so effective at scoring the ball.
Was he the best player that you guys played against in the Big Ten?
At that time, yes. I mean, Draymond Green has had a better pro career, but Evan was a better college player than Draymond at that point. Draymond had a great senior year.
Yeah.
But he wasn't. I mean, Evan was National Player of the Year, like hands down.
Right.
There was no debating it. Who else in the league did we see that would have been?
Manny Harris was tough. Manny Harris
was tough.
That was my freshman year. We played them on senior night in Michigan. He couldn't miss nothing. Like,
oh yeah.
Well, that would have been after. That would have been after he got ejected in Mackey.
Hey, I saw where Coach Painter and Coach Beeline had a little podcast, and Coach Beeline thought Kramer was faking that. I have to say, I was on the bench. I didn't think he hit him either. Like,
I was in the crowd.
And he's bleeding profusely. So unless Kramer fell down or breaking his own nose, I don't know, man. Punching himself in the face. But I swear, from my angle, and Lewis, were you in the game?
Nope, I missed that game because I had a concussion. That's when all the elbows started flying. So I remember being on the.
Wait, was that post Joe Kravenhoff's elbow?
Yeah, and Bo Ryan still thinks that's one of the cleanest screens ever.
That was such a dirty play. That is so
crazy.
Now, if that happened today, he might get suspended. Yeah. Like, he would definitely get ejected. There's no way he wouldn't have gotten ejected.
He played the rest.
There might be a suspension. And Eddie Hightower went over and looked at that. I was like, play on. No foul. That's incredible. That is incredible.